Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I wonder, as some folks file on in to join us in this sacred space, if you will join me in opening the service with our call to worship. Together we hold a place where each can find voice as they long to reflect the Christ for our time.
We hold a place where the path and teachings of Jesus lead us into an experience of the sacred, even as we draw from diverse sources of wisdom along the way.
And that we are. We hold a place inclusive of all people as we explore the fullest expression of what we believe.
We hold a place that expresses itself through the way we behave toward each human life and all of creation.
We hold a place where we find grace within the very search for understanding.
We hold a place where all can strive for justice and work to restore the integrity of the earth.
We hold a place committed to lifelong learning, expanded compassion, and selfless love.
Together we find our voice as we live into the reflection of Christ for our time.
Amen. Beautiful words. Hey, our opening hymn is going to be God Beyond All Names. It's really a beautiful, kind of a Celtic feeling to this tune, but it can be a little tricky the first time through, so we're going to have our phenomenal half choir up here, Michelle and our choir, lead us through the very first verse, and I'm going to invite you in for the final four. So why don't we rise up in body or spirit and join, and if you know it, feel free to sing it right off the bat. Don't let anything hold you back. God Beyond Our...
God beyond our dreams, you have stirred us of memory. You have placed your powerful spirit in the hearts of humankind. All around us we have known you. All creation lives to hold you. In our living and our dying, we are bringing you to bear. Beyond all names, you have made us in your image. We are like you, we reflect you. We are woman, we are man. All around us we have known you. All creation lives to hold you. In our living and our dying, we are bringing you to birth. God beyond all words, all creation tells your story. You have shaken with our laughter. You have trembled with our tears. All around us we have known you. All creation lives to hold you. In our living and our dying, we are bringing you to birth. God beyond all time, you are laboring within us. We are moving, we are changing in your spirit ever new. All around us we have known you. All creation lives to hold you. In our living and our dying, we are bringing you to birth. God of tender care, you have cradled us in goodness. You have mothered us in wholeness. You have loved us into birth. All around us we have known you. All creation lives to hold you. In our living and our dying, we are bringing you to birth.
Please be seated, everyone. Please be seated, everyone. Those beautiful words Love those beautiful words. God beyond all names. Beautiful. Hey, welcome everyone. Good morning and welcome to Faith United Church of Christ on this beautiful Sunday morning here in Dunedin, Florida, or coming to you from Dunedin, Florida, to wherever you are in this great big bouncing blue ball that we all live on together we call planet Earth. A special welcome. And even beyond planet Earth, if you're joining us from some planet we haven't, some exoplanet, we welcome you as well. We all are welcome here, as we say. All are welcome here. Special welcome to any visitors we have with us. First-time visitors, return visitors, in person and online. If you're visiting with us in person, we have a friendship book, which we keep on the table in the gathering space back in by the big double doors when you come in. And if you can sign that with your email address and your information, that'd be great. We'll get you on our email distribution list, newsletter distribution list. And if you're online with us, information's right up there. One, subscribe. If you're on YouTube and if you're on Facebook, go ahead and like and share us. And just send a note to office@faithucc.org, and we'll get you on our mailing list as well to keep you apprised of all the many happenings that we have going around here. We got a lot going on. Woo! See the calendar in the newsletter for all the happenings and the latest events. But I got a couple of announcements. Speaking of the newsletter, do we have an editor out there? Is there someone? Can you tell I'm trying to give something away here? Please, God, is there an editor out there for the newsletter? I will get down on my knees and grovel if there is. Really, it's a fun job. If someone's like, hey, I kind of like being creative online, it's a really easy software package to use, and you can make it your own. So if you are interested in something like that, talk to me, run up to me right after the service, grab me before everybody else does, so you can be the first in line. And it can be it could be a team as well. That might even be better. It could be a small team to edit that newsletter. Comes out every other week. So talk to me if you're interested in that. My goodness, people, 3 weeks in a row of hitting 300 pounds of goods for Dunedin Care. That is so awesome. 306 pounds last week. That's over 900 pounds of food and needed supplies to stock those shelves over at Dunedin Care. So I just want to say a huge thank you. And can we hit 400 this week? Oh, come on. You know I'm not just going to rest. How about this? If we hit 400, I will actually get a haircut and cut it really, really short. How about that? 400 pounds, get you a haircut for me. Maybe we'll even do it right up here, so I don't know. Let's not go crazy. Let's keep that food and those needed supplies coming in for the neediest, the most hurting in our communities. And if you've driven by here on distribution days, the line is out the parking lot. There's so much need right now with inflation and everything happening right now. So please do keep those donations coming. But hey, kudos to you for all that you continue to give to this place. The Journey LGBT Journeys group is meeting following this service. They'll be back in the Sunday school room. If you have any questions, Debbie Phillips is in the back there with her hand up, and she'd love to address any questions. But yeah, just join them and have a good time meeting in the back right after this service. And now we have a benevolence update from Kathy Doucette. Where are you, Kathy? There she is. Come on up.
Thank you, Mike.
You got it.
We decided during the pandemic that we would form a committee named the Benevolence Committee. We're trying to come up with a better name to help out our community and give a $500 donation each month. For example, this month we did Dunedin Cares. We've done HELP. We've done a lot of different organizations around the community. But what I'm asking, I guess, today is for anybody who has a suggestion for some local community that they would like us to give to. We give a $500 donation. Well, I would welcome it, and so would Esther and Debbie, who are on the team with me and have done a lot of work and great to this committee. We're looking to find a new name because benevolence sounds kind of. So yeah. So we're looking to find a better name for the word, but it was during the pandemic, so what can we say? We kind of winged it, is what we did. So thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Thanks for all the work you do, and you and your team in deciding where your money is going each month. It's a $500 donation from the church that goes out every single month to a local, generally more than not a local need in the community. So, yeah, benevolence doesn't quite cut it. Benevolence, oh my gosh, that sounds so boring, doesn't it? It's got to be a better name, so we need your help with naming that team. So come up with something creative, and we'll give it a new name. And then everybody will want to join it, right? Isn't that how it goes? No one wants to join the benevolence team, but everybody will join like the Giving Tree team or something. Ooh, what a difference it'll make. Yes? Community outreach? Okay, that much better than benevolence. We're already way through the roof on excitement. Thank you, Kathy, for all your work and your team. Concert announcement. We got a couple of concerts coming up, but for sure one we want to announce that's before the next one. So we'll announce the first one first. I'll shut up. Come on up, Meredith, and make our announcement for us.
Okay, the magic of music.
Meredith. Hey, Meredith, can you come on up? Oh, there you go. Oh, you got a microphone back there, but this is even better.
Okay, good.
Come on down.
Come on down. Okay, the Magic of Music group is really happy to announce a concert on September 24th. This is a Saturday. It will be from 7 to 9 p.m. And we are very fortunate to book David Oliver Willis. And he is a singer, a songwriter. He performs an eclectic mix of folk, soul, rock, and contemporary alternative. And David is a two-time American Idol finalist. He tells stories that resonate with the human heart. So whether you like to come to just listen or you like to dance, David is going to do it all. And we will be selling tickets starting today after church, and we will be selling them every Sunday between now and the 24th. We will also have them at the door. Bring family, bring friends. It's going to be a wonderful evening. Thank you. 15, yes, $15. Yes. And we will have pizza and beverages and all kinds of good things. So come, you'll have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith and team. How fantastic. That sounds like a great night. So tickets at the door today, right? For sale today, this very day. Yep, get them at the door today. And come on out and have a good time. You know, I thought about trying out for American Idol. But it just didn't seem right. So I didn't want to end up on those outtakes, you know, where they make fun of all that. That would have been me.
Better America's Got Talent.
Or maybe the Gong Show for me. That might be the one to go to. Remember the Gong Show? Is that kind of the start of it all? I mean, you get out there and you start, and then gong, they bong you right off the stage. We could put one of those up for like a sermon time. You get the gong and you go too long, you hit that thing, and it's like, I just head to the back, you know, I'm good. Hey, I want to lift up some concerns this day. Continue to hold Ron and Suzette Hughes in your hearts and prayers. Suzette continues to recover from a really invasive surgery. It's going to be a long road to recovery for her. So let's hold Suzette in our hearts and prayers. And if things aren't, tough enough with that recovery and Ron trying to support her and her family, Ron's father died. Harlan died the other day at 94. He died at home in Iowa. So Hughes family, we're thinking about you. Lean on us as you need to in this time. And Ron, we are truly sorry for the loss of a dad. I know you'll miss him. And we hold your family up, your daughters, Kristen and Lisa, as well in this time. We lost a grandpa. And also Ron's mom, Marlis, and sister, Marina. We hold them also in heart and prayers. So let us know how we can support you in this time. Continue to hold Lisa Popovich and Erica Miller, especially Erica Miller, and then Lisa's son, Pete. Erica started teaching school last Monday and came down with COVID on the first day back in the classroom, and now Lisa's son, Pete, also had tested positive for COVID. Lisa had not, as of the other day Friday when I talked to her, so I'm hoping that she stays negative as well. So prayers for Erica and Pete, and for Lisa, for you as well in this time. Continue to hold Whitney Rao in your hearts and prayers on the death of beloved Mudge, her mom, who passed away about 2 weeks ago. Great lady. We'll celebrate her life somewhere down the road, so watch for more information on that to come. Continue to hold Dolores Abad in your hearts and prayers. She is at Encompass Rehab. The good news is she'll be going home on Friday after a good stay in the hospital and a 2-week stay in rehab, so that is good news for her. I'll lift her up in a second with a joy as well. Also, Jenny Presgrove, who we've been praying for the last couple weeks, is here. Jenny thanks everyone for all the prayers. She put a wonderful, beautiful, heartfelt post out on Facebook yesterday, so go ahead and see that on our private page. But we're just glad you're here, Jenny. You're doing much better. You still got a little road here, but we'll walk that with you.
We still have 3 to 4 months before everything can.
3 to 4 months, yeah. So we'll just keep on praying for you and supporting you as we can, okay?
Love you all.
And you as well. And a surprise as well, Ruth Ann Richwine is in the house with us. Somewhere, where'd she go? Where'd she go? Is she hiding back? There she is in the back. And Ruth Ann has gone through some pretty major health struggles herself in the last month and a half here, and she is with us today, looking great. We are delighted to have you back with us. So keep going, Ruth Ann. Keep on healing, and let us know what you need. So also continue to hold Chris Blood in your hearts and prayers. Chris also was dealing with some pretty difficult medical issues, hospitalizations, and she's on the mend, but not quite there yet. So Chris, if you're watching, we're thinking about you. And Barry, please give our best to Chris, okay? I got a couple joys. One, Brian Smalley, who's not here with us. He's back from Texas. His son, who was really bad news for a while there, his son has really come a long way with his cancer battle and has gotten some really good news and is in a good place right now. So continue to hold Stephen, Brian's son, in your hearts and prayers. Brian will be back with us next week as our choir starts to kick off again next week, which is a joy. That's a joy, isn't it? Our choir's back next week. And also a final joy, Dolores Abad. You were going to try and be online with us today. You had a birthday on Friday, so we wish you a very special, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Dolores.
Hey, Mike?
Yes.
There was a concern.
Oh, yes. Oh, a couple more concerns, yes. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy Doucette shared David, her brother-in-law, is having prostate cancer surgery on Tuesday. So let's hold David and his family in our hearts and prayers. And also prayers for Dominic Valentino's cousin Felicia, who is battling bile duct cancer in her liver. So Amy, we'll give our best to Dominic, and please pass on our prayers of support to their family. So that's a tough thing in this time, yeah. I don't know if you guys saw also, since we're in the praying mood right now, continue to hold that family in Palm Harbor who lost a daughter to suicide. I don't know if you saw that. It's 15, 16 years old, just going into her senior year. And a couple days before school began, she committed suicide. And it's such a hard time out there for our youth, for our children, especially coming out of the COVID times and all the other pressures that they have in life. You know, mistakes have been made and bullying and all this stuff. So let's hold our kids as they journey back into school. I know it's been a week now, but hold them in our hearts and prayers. So many of them are going through a lot, and they're just carrying a lot of heaviness. And hearts and prayers out to that family in a really, really difficult time. Kathy has a microphone. Do we have any concerns real quick or joys you want to lift up? Go ahead, Natalie. Casey, you got it on?
Good morning. I don't have a joy this time, but I have a major concern that I hope turns into a joy at some point. If you all remember, back on July 4th, there was an active shooter up in one of the suburbs up in Chicago. Well, unfortunately, I have a friend that I've been friends with for close to 65 years. She was there. She got out. But the most unfortunate part was, if you remember, there was a child who was orphaned, and that was her next-door neighbor. So my concern is that she gets that my friend gets the help that she so vehemently needs, and that this child finds some solace somewhere down the line. So, God, watch over this little boy, Aiden. Thank you very much for listening.
Aiden was a little boy that was found under his parents, yes. That was,
I also added, he had turned to somebody. He had turned to somebody, I don't know when exactly it was, and said, "When are Mommy and Daddy coming home?" So please, people, let me get a little political here just for a moment. Please, people who can make a difference. Guns are for hunting and for protecting your household. No more, no less. Please listen.
thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Nat. Go ahead, Jeff. See? Oh, I thought Jeff was going to say something. Huh? He was going to sing us a tune. Any other thoughts, joys, concerns you'd like to lift up and share with our praying community? Any others this day? Well, peace be with all of you for all the things that we hold within us in the silence of our hearts. We lift up a prayer this day as well. And for all the joys that we carry, those things that we carry in our hearts as well, may we find energy in them and let them take us into the beauty of a new week together. I want to share a prayer here. Let's invite you to close your eyes for a moment. As we always do, just take a few breaths. And it is in our breathing that we are most connected to this mystery that we name God, and it's closer than each breath we take, each beat of our hearts. Remind yourself that in this present moment there is such beauty. Also remind yourself, as the great Frederick Buechner, who we lost this past week, who died, great spiritual author, when he said, "Here's the world, beautiful and terrible things will happen, but don't be afraid." Breathe that deep into your being. And hold that mantra close to your heart in all times. It's a beautiful world, and don't be afraid. Pray a prayer here from a prayer book to an evolutionary God. It's called Blessed Be God, Feeling God's Immediacy. Kind of fits the theme for our month here. O God of creation, much of what we observe is radically transparent. Beneath its thin veil of matter and energy, we can see credible evidence of mind and love and creativity. Blessed be your holy name, though we know it not. Silent mystery, ocean of energy, mothering spirit, evolutionary God. We reach ineptly toward you with names. Still, blessed be your goodness. Behold, something exists instead of nothing. Look, a rainbow. See the starry light from far away, ancient explosions. See the bright child, the compassionate neighbor, the forgiving parent. Blessed be your love and caringness, asking only our companionship, our pleasure, our surrender. So blessed be God in all your darkness and mystery. Amen. Let's journey ever deeper into this time of worship with a very famous duo that has joined us this day that we call the Neverly Brothers. Come on, Neverly Brothers.
We're going to sing a song that the title of it certainly is appropriate for this time of year, called Summer's End. Written by John Prine. I hope a lot of you are familiar with his music. If not, lost John early on in the COVID pandemic. He died in March of 2020. But he left us a great legacy of music. This particular song, it's kind of wistful and almost nostalgic. And you have to kind of listen between the lines, because he actually wrote it about the opioid crisis. And if you don't mind having a box of tissues handy, he has an official video of this song on YouTube, and very moving. So anyway, without further ado, I'd like to play you a little song here.
Summer's ends around the bend just flying. Swimming suits are hanging on the line just drying. I'll meet you there for our conversation. I hope I didn't ruin your whole vacation.
You never know how far from home you're feeling until you walk the shadows cross the ceiling. Well, I don't know, but I can see it snowing. Your car, the windows are wide open. Well, come on,
Come on home. No, you don't have to be alone. Just come on home. Valentines break hearts and minds at random. That old Easter egg and got a leg to stand on. Well, I can see that you can't win for trying. And New Year's Eve is bound to leave you crying.
come on home.
Just come on home. No, you don't have to be alone. Just come on home.
The moon and stars hang out in bars just talk. I still love that picture of us
Our reading today comes from a poem called When I Am Among the Trees by Mary Oliver from her poetry book Thirst, published in 2006. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, especially the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness, I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches. And they call again, "It's simple," they say, "and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine."
Beautiful words from Mary Oliver. Beautiful music from the Neverly Brothers.
Never again.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm thinking once every other week. Come on, Neverly Brothers. You got some content to start working on, I think. That was great. And who doesn't love John Prine? I mean, honestly. Oh, what a loss. Hey, I want to begin today's journey into our sermon series, Beyond the Bible, as we're calling it, with a poll question of sorts. And that question is this: who here in this space and online has heard of a person named Augustine? 3 of you, really? Come on, who's heard of Augustine? Does it help if I say Augustine? Oh, now everybody's hands are going up. Okay, that's good. All right, more of you came up, and I'm guessing there's quite a few of online as well who have heard. They're just not admitting. Yeah, maybe you don't want to admit you've heard of Augustine. Is that it? Yeah. All right, that's fine. All right, there. Second question, a follow-up is this, and for you pastors out there, you don't cheat on this because you got inside knowledge. How many of you have heard of a man named Pelagius? Pastors out there? Couple, like 4 of you. 4 of you. And don't mix it up with a man named Plagiarism. That's not what I'm talking about. Pelagius. I mean, he might have plagiarized, but who knows? But it's Pelagius. Okay, not many. That's most predictable. But I'm going to say it's also really highly unfortunate that so many of you have heard of Augustine and not many of you have heard of Pelagius. For one of these men's writings and beliefs were welded to the fabric of Christianity as it emerged in its earliest days and has shaped our religious identities right down to today in very unfortunate and damaging ways, while the other was banished to the ashes of history as yet another excommunicated heretic, my kind of guy, who's never to be heard from again, or maybe at least until recently, yet whose vision of God was radically different and is so much more beautiful. It is their stories I want us to explore, to begin this sermon today as we explore alternative spiritual paths and ways that are beyond the Bible, or maybe in our case today, better said, beyond the Bible and its traditions and interpretations that have unfortunately come out of it that still to this day frame our lives. So you all have indicated that most of you have indicated you heard of Augustine in one form or another. Of course you have. For who has not heard of his dreaded concepts of original sin? Have you heard of that? Oh yeah. Or limbo? Heard of limbo? It's not the dance. He didn't invent the dance. I'm talking about, limboing underneath. I would hurt my back if I went any further. Or how about predestination? You heard of that one? Yeah, but especially that dreaded original sin. This awful yet widely accepted doctrine created from the fantasies and delusions of the mighty intellect of Augustine states, in its most simplistic Cliff Notes form, the human beings from conception and birth, and really all of creation, is fallen and depraved because of the grand act of disobedience that Adam and Eve, well, mainly Eve, come on, let's be honest. I can't go home later. Okay, Adam and Eve engaged in the Garden of Eden when they ate that fruit that God said, don't eat from, don't touch that tree, and don't eat that fruit. The world, because of this act of disobedience, is corrupt, and we are a part of that corruption, and we are in need of saving. And only through the grace of God can we be restored through the saving nature of one Jesus H. Christ, who comes to the world as the new Adam to replace the old fallen ways of the fruit-eating and very gullible old Adam. In the words of a favorite theologian of mine I'm reading right now, John Philip Newell, who's a Celtic theologian, he said, quote, "The doctrine of original sin has dominated the landscape of Western Christian thought and practice since the 4th century. It teaches that what is deepest in us is opposed to God rather than of God. It means that we are essentially ignorant rather than bearers of light. That we are essentially ugly rather than rooted in divine beauty. That we are essentially selfish rather than made in the image of love." And that list goes on and on. It is a doctrine that disempowers us. It needs our forgetfulness of the sacred tune at the heart of our being. The consequence, both individually and collectively, he says, have been disastrous. End quote. Welcome to the delusional world that Christianity still lives under. So much of it to this very day, thanks to Augustine. A little side note, I was doubting the sermon a little bit last night, doubting Thomas and me. I was like, does anybody really believe that anymore? And I'm watching a favorite pipe YouTube channel that I watch. And the guy that he was interviewing, who's a professor in South Carolina, he's got his pipe and he goes, well, you know, the world is fallen. And therefore we have a pipe to enjoy ourselves, to forget about the fallenness of the world. People still do believe this in this day and age, and it's still being preached or talked about. It's just crazy. But, always a but. There's another voice in this time, that of that other person I polled you with named Pelagius, the very one few of you have unfortunately never heard of. In reality, Pelagius was a British monk and a theologian who was a contemporary of our guy Augustine and a major detractor of his, disagreeing strongly with Augustine's vision of humanity and writing about and preaching about instead the utter beauty of human nature, and that sin does not define the totality of our existence from birth, my God, as babies, and our relationship with God and nature, really all of creation. In the words of Philip Newell again, I gave Augustine time, I'll give Pelagius time with him as well. He said, Pelagius foresaw the consequences in the 4th century of original sin. It led him to oppose the doctrine of original sin with all of his might. His concern was that if the church defined the human soul essentially toward wholeness, it would pervert how we viewed ourselves and our deepest energies. And it would distort the way we approach the people and teachings of other traditions. Newell goes on. He was right to be passionate. Original sin as a doctrine has wreaked untold havoc in the lives and relationships of countless men and women in the Western world, including the self-perceptions of generation after generation of children. And it continues to undermine the way we relate or choose not to relate to the people and wisdom of other cultures and communities. End quote. This is a very different religious worldview, right, than what the other guy, the former guy, was teaching. And unfortunately, Pelagius lost in the end, and Augustine won. And you see, in failing to dissuade the Christian elite, of the time, of the dangers of Augustine's ways. Pelagius was labeled, you know the label, right? The word, what is it? A heretic. Ooh, a heretic. That meant something back then, not so much anymore. He was labeled a heretic. He was banned from the Roman Empire. And in turn to the annals of the history of Christianity really over well. He was gone for a time, but he was never forgotten. I'll do a sermon later on Celtic theology, which really keeps him alive. Anyway, even though original sin provided the growing Christian movement and its new Roman Empire master with, under which it was growing with a necessary power over the people in their religious lives, because how do you threaten people? You tell them what? They're corrupt, right? And in need of something, right? And you hold the masses in check because they need what you have to offer, in this case, salvation. But Pelagius kept saying, no, it's not fallen, we're not depraved, it's none of that, but he was gone. But he's coming back and he lives, I'm going to show today, in others that are still preaching and speaking new truths that he was speaking long ago. So maybe it's time, I'm hoping to show today, that Augustine has had his say. And he's had his dang time, but his vision of the world has failed. And humanity has failed. And maybe now, in Pelagius, or let's just go beyond him to others, other prophets are rising up in a new vision of the world that sees harmony and beauty among its diverse constituents is ready to lead to a new way and a grand reimagining of the spiritual life beyond the Bible and the damaging interpretations that come out of stories from the Bible of like a man and a woman eating a fruit. Does that not sound asinine to you? Your whole history is based on the myth of a man and a woman in a garden eating a fruit. Think about that for a second. Maybe it'll hit you later. But it's obviously a new way today is needed. It's needed. And the question is, will we embrace it? Can we embrace it, or will we just stick to the Bible and its traditions that have been interpretively built up around those stories? Been thinking a lot about that very question in recent months and leading up to this sermon series. I keep asking questions like, will we embrace, can we embrace something spiritually new in this day and age and save this thing we call the church, its theology and its way in the world? As quickly as I ask that, I wonder to myself, because I don't dare say this out loud, although I'm about to, is this thing called the church even worth saving? Is it worth the energy anymore to even save this thing? Is the church worthy of the very salvation that has pounded into people's heads that they need? Is it savable? Is there room anymore, I guess, I wonder, with so much knowledge of the human condition now and expanding scientific insight for a religious way of life that sees its foundation in some ancient concept of mythical sin and a fall from grace and a need for a savior to come and redeem humanity and create creation from its waywardness? Are we still here? Is there room anymore in a realistic global sense? And this was the impetus for this entire sermon series, for religions that are divided into different gods and different eschatological or final destiny visions for our souls, with different visions of who is in and who is out, generally conceived of very particularly and tribally located social locations. Is this meaningful anymore? They're all staring at me like, I don't know. I don't know. Is it helpful anymore? I'll answer no to all of those. The Western religions of the world, especially Christianity, having its own special say here, have given us so much of what Augustine gave us. So much division, so much disunity and lack of harmony and blindness to goodness in the world, and especially in the diversity and wonder of creation, so much judgment. The time has perhaps come to ask some honest and hard questions about it, like, for one, is it just meaningful anymore? Is it time to turn the page? And you've heard me say it. Oh, here he goes. I know. Here goes Mike again. And you'd be right. But these questions are nothing new. They're nothing new. I'm not the only one asking these questions either. But the multitudes that have fled the pews, or the pew, no pun intended, I don't know if you caught that, have also been asking these questions. And you know how they've been answering them? With their feet. With their feet as they flee out those doors, as they flee from those pews, and as they never look back. Their answer is, oh, heck no. This isn't meaningful anymore. And I'm not going to waste my time with it. That's not even commenting on the younger generations, right? They're gone. They're gone. They're nuns now. Not N-U-N-S, N-O-N-E-S. I mean, it could be nuns, N-U-N-S. I don't know. I wouldn't make a very good nun. I don't know, maybe I would, but I don't know. But I'd probably make a pretty good N-O-N-E. That's a common refrain these days, as we all know. They're gone. And it's nothing new. John Philip Newell, again, tells the story in this wonderful book that the Thursday night group, theology group, is reading. It's called The Rebirthing of God. I know I give you a book every week, like homework. Dissident Daughter last week, but this week is The Rebirthing of God. It's a beautiful book. But he tells the story of Carl Jung, the great psychoanalyst, and who, when he was a boy in Switzerland, kept having this dream, this recurring dream of walking past the great Basel Cathedral with its, on his way to school, and looking up and admiring its shiny new spire. Apparently had a shiny new spire, you know. But as Jung shared later in his life, he said that image, this certain image kept creeping up on him from his unconscious. And of course, Jung would frame it that way, wouldn't he? They kept coming up over and over again. And I'll quote John Philip Newell so you don't think I'm making this up. Maybe he's making it up, but I don't think so. But I'm quoting him. So he wrote that Jung, years later, allowed himself to name what he was seeing. He saw that above the spire of the cathedral was the throne of God, just hovering up there. Throne of God, coming down on that spire. And it was descending and descending from the throne, and this is the quote from Jung. I'm not making this up, John's not making this up. Descending from the throne was an enormous turd that smashed into the spire, and the walls of the cathedral crumbled. Thank you, Rod, for that. It's quite an image, isn't it? Are you all playing with that one right now in your head? You folks online, you got that going on there? An enormous turd smashed into the spire, and the walls of the cathedral came a-tumbling down. Newell goes on to interpret that for us today in a really meaningful way. He said, quote, we are living in the midst of the, okay, maybe not a great way, we are living in the midst of the great turd falling. In fact, it has already hit the spire, and the walls of Western Christianity are collapsing. In many parts of the West, that collapse can only be described as seismic. In another 25 years, much of the Western Christian household, as we have known it, will be no more. End quote. Then Newell goes on to lay out three responses to this for us. The first is one that we've been pretty good at collectively. The first is to deny that it is happening, right? And the second, we've also done this, well, let's just reinterpret the whole thing. The second is to frantically shore up the foundations of the old thing. Well, that'll last for a while, right? But the third, he says, is to ask what is trying to be born that requires a radical reorientation of our vision. What is this new thing that is trying to emerge from deep within us and deep within the collective soul of Christianity? End quote. He wrote that in 2012. So I'm not going to take my shoes off, but I think that's what, 10 years? Yeah, 10 years ago he wrote that, right? So we're 15 years out now from his prediction. And a pandemic that sped the whole thing up. So this is as relevant a question, I think, as we're ever going to ask ourselves this day. Is it meaningful anymore? Is it meaningful anymore? And beyond that, so what is waiting to emerge? What is this new thing, as Newell asked, that is waiting to emerge? What is waiting to break in and to fire up our spiritual imaginations and take them to new heights? I guess my question is, and I think his as well, what have we been missing when we've spent so much of our spiritual lives and our religious lives blinded by dogmas and beholden to creeds and beliefs and worries and judgment and fear and right versus wrong thoughts and beliefs? What has been right in front of our noses, just waiting for us to stop, Gesundheit, to pause, and to take heed of its holiness and its divinity and just pay attention to it? What's screaming at us? Well, how about the world, right? And all its grandeur. There's one thing. That's what. Well, we've been studying the scriptures and for the Word of God and ancient books and systems of belief and religions. Well, the holy has been exploding all around us in so many ways, and scriptures are being written every single millisecond around us that it's just amazing to behold. Though we have ever seldom been invited as part of our spiritual lives to pay attention to those things as part of your spiritual life. The poets have been telling us this for millennia, right? For a long time. I mean, look around, pay attention. They've been screaming at us, writing things down, speaking to us, screaming at us. Take Gerard Manley Hopkins, for example. You all heard of him? The world is charged with the grandeur of God. It will flame out like shining from shook foil. It gathers to a greatness like the ooze of oil. But he goes on, it gathers, it crushed. Why do men then now not wreck his rod? I'm going to read in his perfect Old English. Generations have trod, and all is seared with trade, bleared, smeared with toil, and wears man's smudge and shares man's smell. The soil is bare now, nor can foot feel being shod. And for all this, nature is never spent. Nature's never spent. There lives the dearest freshness deep down things, and though the last lights off the black west went, all morning at the brown brink eastward springs, because the Holy Ghost, oh, I love that, over the bent world broods with warm breast and with bright wings. Isn't that gorgeous? Open your eyes. Isn't that what he's saying? Open your eyes. Holiness abounds around you. It shines forth. Just look for it. Maybe stop burying our noses in books. How about these words from William Blake? To see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. Beautiful words. Hold out your hand. Hold your palm out. Go ahead. You can do it. Hold your palm out. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand. How does that feel? Right there. The miraculous right there for you to see. But you got to take notice, they're telling us. These are the modern day Pelagiuses. Blake is telling us that even the most seemingly simple of things in creation they contain eternal truths of such beauty. Even in the ordinary, there is something so mystical, so transcendent and seemingly miraculous just happening. And if we just take the time to open ourselves to it and put the old stuff away and open our eyes, our Western religious traditions have not encouraged that in us very well at all. So it takes the poets and their scriptures to open those to remind us beyond the Bible, right? Beyond the Bible. This is where I really wanted to go today. Our scripture from Mary Oliver. Who here loves Mary Oliver? Everybody loves Mary Oliver. And the many other poems, the one that we heard from Wendy, and the many other poems she wrote over her life can speak deep and within us and answer that question of what is waiting to emerge in the spiritual sense. And it's that sense of awe and wonder that she brings to even, my God, the simplest and the most ordinary of moments. Now, I don't know about you, and I'm going to say something heretical here. Not that I haven't already. But I'd trade Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John any day for a Mary Oliver when it comes to my spiritual imagination. Ho, ho, ho! Settle down, folks. Her images are so full of just common, everyday experiences that we all have, yet they're laden with the kind of just this wonder that ground us and what can only be described as holy and bathed in it. She opens, in other words, the spiritual dimensions of everyday, ordinary life and takes those moments to new heights in terms of interconnection, something Augustine forgot all about, and unity, and especially harmony. She's really a poet of harmony. She writes as a prophet to people like us seeking to maybe move beyond the confines of an Augustinian past where creation is fallen and it's corrupt, and instead into one that is a miracle to behold and laden with divine rapture. From the trees that we heard, Wendy read and invite her to slow down and to stay. How many of you have ever done that? Who just stands among the trees? Have you done that? They ever invite you just to slow down, to stay a while, to go easy, and to be filled with light, and then to shine? Or how about she shares a poem where grasshoppers are enjoying sugar with her on a summer's day? Who notices that? She found the most incredible holiness in those moments. Or about the wild geese. You've all heard wild geese, right? High in the clean blue air, heading home again. Her words invite us into a timeless sense of heightened transcendence, even amidst the seemingly most ordinary of times. And I don't know about you, but I find myself more spiritually alive when I read or hear her words than I'll ever find when I open up the Bible. I want to share two poems before I wrap up this long-winded sermon with you, because I can't get enough of her. And these kind of speak to the essence of her looking deeply into the most simple of times and seeing the fullness of the God experience in something just so simply ordinary. First one's called Little Summer Poem Touching the Subject of Faith. You ever heard that one? Little Summer Poem Touching the Subject of Faith. She definitely wasn't a Christian. Every summer I listen and look under the sun's brass and even into the moonlight, but I can't hear anything. I can't see anything. Not the pale roots digging down, nor the green stalks muscling up, nor the leaves deepening their damp pleats, nor the tassels making, nor the shucks, nor the cobs, and still, every day, the leafy fields grow taller and thicker. Green gowns lofting up in the night, showered with silk. And so every summer, I fail as a witness, seeing nothing. I am deaf, too, to the tick of the leaves, the tapping of downwardness from the banyan feet, all of it happening beyond any seeable proof or hearable hum. And therefore, let the immeasurable come. Let the unknowable touch the buckle of my spine. Let the wind turn in the trees and the mystery hidden in the dirt swing through the air. How could I look at anything in this world and tremble and grip my hands over my heart? What should I fear? One morning in the leafy green ocean, the honeycomb of the corn's beautiful body is sure to be there. God. Is that just deep? You can go read that again later. Look it up and read it a few times. It's just the holiness in every moment of creation. It's not fallen. It's not all that crap that Augustine said it was. We've been sold a bill of goods. And we're finally starting to dig our way out. And the world's inviting us to do that. One more, and this is strangely my favorite Mary Oliver poem. See what you all think. I don't know why it's my favorite, but it's called When Death Comes. Strange one to have as a favorite. Because this one hits everybody, I think. Everybody and everything. I think of this one when I think of Mudge and Whitney, or Ron and his dad Harlan, and others who have recently lost loved ones. And all of us who will take that journey someday. When death comes like the hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from his purse to buy me and snaps the purse shut, when death comes like the measles pox, when death comes like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering, what is it going to be like, that cottage of darkness? And therefore I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood, and I look upon time as no more than an idea, and I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy, and as singular. And each name a comfortable music in the mouth, tending as all music does towards silence. And each body a line of courage and something precious to the earth. When it's over, I want to say, all my life, I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder, have made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world. How sweet is that? It's one of the best meditations on death I've ever heard. We are called to live in this world. And that means in the fullest and most holy sense imaginable. So much, again, of our Western religious biblical tradition just has us passing on through, right? Trying to score points on the journey to the next and much more important realm as we escape this fallen world. That's what we've been sold. But our poets and our prophets and their scriptures, Gerard Manley Hopkins, William Blake, Mary Oliver, heck, even our old friend, the plagiarizer Pelagius, have been trying to fight the orthodoxies that tell us otherwise for a long, long time. But maybe, just maybe, it's time we listen to them and begin to see anew the light that is all around us and the light that we have within us. Not corruption and depravity, but the light, the beauty we have within us to share. That light is there. It's in us and in the world, even if one frustrated curmudgeon long ago tried to extinguish it. We just need to trust that it's there. And do like Mary Oliver invited us to with those trees, shine like the sun. Gesundheit. Bless you. I hope you're going to continue to enjoy this series. We focused on the poets today, my friends. We're going to focus on Buddhism, Native American spiritualities. We've got some other things in mind that we're going to explore, but the whole point is we're going beyond the Bible, beyond our religious traditions for at least a time until, we go back and explore the Jesus story, whom I love, you know that, in amazing ways. I hope you continue to enjoy this, expand our minds, our spirits, and let's see ourselves as a different kind of spiritual being in the world than anything you've ever been given the freedom to imagine because of a past that's so locked in theological baggage that sometimes it's just hard to see clearly. So peace be with you, my friends. You have light within you to give, and you are going to shine like the sun, and don't ever let anybody tell you that that's not true. Tell them Pastor Mike said otherwise. Amen. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4 of you. Where's every? Are they singing back there? Is Casey harmonizing in there or what? That sounded like more than 4 people, didn't it? My God, beautiful. Oh, I wonder, my friends, if you'd join me in a little more intentional time of centering our spirits. A moment of prayer. And let us journey into the stilling time together in this space. Feel that gentle flame that kindles within you. A divine mystery that you are a part of. Beautiful mystery that you are a beautiful part of. Commune with the light that shines in you. Let's just journey into a moment of silent prayer together. As we emerge back to the realm of sound and voice, may these words, these beautiful words you know from St. Francis, guide us in our day and into our new week ahead. May we live them fully. Lord, make us instruments of your peace. Where there's hatred, let us sow love. Where there's injury, pardon. Where there's doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine one, grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to be consolers. To be understood as to understand. To be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. For peace in our world, let us pray this day. For peace in our hearts and our lives, let us pray this day. For peace in the lives of those who are suffering, or healing, or grieving, or longing, and all in our world who are struggling in some way from poverty and oppression and war and, gun violence. And for all of those people and places that we hold in our hearts, let's just pause for a moment. Holy One, for all who are struggling, hear our prayer this day. Long ago, Jesus invited us to pray a beautiful prayer about the world being turned right side up, and debts forgiven, and everybody having the things that they need to live the good life and the peaceable life. We call it the Lord's Prayer. I invite you to join me, and please choose your most cherished image, whether that be Father or Mother or Creator or other. Please join me in the Lord's Prayer.
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and power, and glory,
Amen. And the people say, Amen. Amen. I love, the more I pray the Lord's Prayer in its traditional form, I love it. I love the words. We need to do some more exploring on that. I know we like to weave in the progressive too. I love those as well, but such a beautiful prayer. That Jesus guy knew a thing or two, didn't he? I tell you. Hey, as we come to the end of our service here, it means if it's the end of the service, it's the beginning of hospitality time, right? our form of another form of communion for us. We have a great hospitality in here. Stick around and meet a new friend, a newcomer, an old friend you've seen a face of in a long time but never said hi to. Go ahead and make a new friend today. And before we do that, I always want to say thank you for your incredible generosity. It knows no bounds, from the 300 pounds of food for Dunedin Cares to your financial giving. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are visiting with us or you're just here regularly, like, I want to give some more money to this awesome vision of this place, well, we have plates on the back table. And if you're online with us, you can go right to our website, scan that QR code, or just go to the give link. And there are easy ways for you to give to support the work that we do together right there for you. I want to bid Marie Grine a very special trip. She is on her way. Now that we're back in our traveling days, Marie is going to be heading over to Scotland. And not only that, she's going to be going to one of the thinnest places on earth. You know a thin place? It's a place where they say heaven and earth undulate together. They just kind of merge together, and that's called Iona. A place I can't wait someday to get. And that's you're going to take pictures and send them back to us, but I wish you and all of you are traveling with a blessed trip, and we can't wait to hear the experiences from Iona. So have a great time. Have a deeply spiritual connect. I think you're going to feel that energy this time that you're seeking. So, hey, before we, and all of you, anybody else traveling, have a great trip wherever you're going. And just have a wonderful and blessed week. Be safe. Let your light shine. Get over the stuff of the past. Sometimes you just don't need that stuff anymore. You're beautiful, light-filled, and incredible. And that's how we need to live out our spiritual lives. And I hope you will this week in new, amazing ways. But before we leave here and go to hospitality, we need, or to the Journeys group and back, which is meeting at the Sunday school room if you're heading back there, we need to sing, right? We got to sing for peace. God knows this world needs a little more peace. So we're keeping it alive, my friends. So let's rise up in body or spirit and sing our way out of here with Let There Be Peace on Earth. And let it begin with us. Go easy, everyone. Take it slow and shine like the sun. Amen.